right side. That's key with the real heart. So the middle piece always is going to be the interventricular septum. Always, always. Then this is the left ventricular free wall and the right ventricular free wall. You should be able to identify right off the bat that this is the left ventricular wall and this is the right, because this is so much, on this one is actually, this is so much thicker than this one, right? The right ventricular wall is like itty bitty compared to the left wall. So no right ventricular wall, interventricular septum, and left ventricular wall. The other things that I can ask you, these are the chordae tendineae, right? And they're always attached to papillary muscles. So I was telling the group up there, I'll tell you, like if I put a string around the chordae tendineae with like a tag hanging off, for that number, I'll be like, name those structures instead of, because some people will be like, well, that looks like it's the left ventricle. So I'll be specific if it's a structure or the chamber. If it's a chamber, I'll put something in here or like in the wall itself. Myocardium is not acceptable for that. People blank and they're like, muscle. You have to tell me what it is. The other thing is, inside the walls of the ventricles, those bundles that kind of just look like big clumps of muscle, those are trabeculae carnae. So those are only in the ventricles, and in the atria, those are the the pectinate muscles. See those clumps? That'll be in the video. See the pectinate muscles? That's what, you only see them in the atria. So if I have a pin inside the atria and I'll say, what are those structures? Pectinate muscles. So pectinate inside the atria, trabeculae carnae inside the ventricles. You have the chordae tendineae, and I could ask you too, like this would be the bicuspid or the left AV valve, and then you have the chordae tendineae come down and attach to papillary muscles. Aside from that, possibly just to give you extra points, I could give you like the right or in this case the left auricle or the right auricle, you know what I mean, just to give you some bonus points, and they would be labeled on the plastic card as well. This is all from spitting, dripping everywhere. Okay, so I got chambers, muscles. The only other thing that you guys can kind of play around with is if you go in through, say, the left ventricle, you have to like wiggle it a little bit. This one might actually work. You can get out through the vessel. I have the heart up there that's set up with it. You can kind of trace back the vessel leaving the chamber. So with this one, we found the same problem. This is actually the the pulmonary trunk up here. So if you put the probe inside of the right ventricle and fish your way up, you'll come out, it kind of blows out the side of the wall, but you can go backwards into the chamber. Same thing here. You can push through. See how my probe is now in the right ventricle? This is the I keep saying that, the pulmonary trunk, because you can leave the right ventricle and go right out of it. And if you put it in the aorta, see that's like severed a little bit. See if I can get back in there maybe. I blew through the wall, but you see